In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. It is said that all problems are communication problems. Whether it is due or not, or to what extent it is due, put it aside for a minute. But one thing is there, and that one thing is communication is, of course, very, very, very important subject. And communication skills are definitely one of the most important, or maybe the most important skill ever. Why? Because by communicating well, and by communicating we are interacting with the people, and if at all we are successful at it, this actually means that we can we can seek the cooperation, we can successfully get the cooperation of the other people. It actually means that we become quite powerful, quite powerful. So we do have to pay a lot of attention to the communication skill, and to be able to communicate well. This communicating well has become the topic of our today's discussion, and like always, we have included in it a very beautiful, a very useful article on the subject as well. This beautiful article has been authored by Adrian Volenik, who is a well-known researcher and author, and his article 11 techniques for improved communication. 11 techniques for improved communication. This is really important. 11 techniques are going to be told to us for a better communication. I think that each one of these is important, and if at all, even if at all we do learn one of these, and if at all we are already practicing one or few of these, it actually means that we are relatively better communicators. So let's talk about it, as it is really important. First of all, the author says avoid assumptions and jumping to conclusion. Avoid assumption. We assume instead of asking them, instead of listening from their mouth. We assume that that person has done this thing, that he she means it, and like they are not willing, like they are not cooperative, like they don't like me, like they don't want to interact with me, etc., etc., etc. All of these assumptions are really bad. I think that we need to avoid these assumptions, and instead we need to listen to their from their mouth, from the mouth of that particular person, what actually they people are seen saying. And then the second part of the same first technique is that avoid jumping to conclusions as well. We don't have to jump to conclusion at all, because this means that we are in such a hurry that we don't consider the things properly, and if at all we don't pay proper attention to each and every important thing. This actually means that again we are going in the wrong direction, and we will not be able to understand the right thing in the right way. So the first technique is avoid assumption and jumping to conclusion. Instead of assuming, let's listen from their mouth, and instead of jumping to conclusion, let's be very patient and let's be very careful. The number two technique, the second thing to be taken care of in this regard, that is avoid interruption. Do not actually interrupt. Why? Because if at all we do interrupt somebody who is talking, it actually means he she might have said something which was quite important, which might have been quite important to us, but we missed this chance, and because of that interruption, now this person is not going to say that thing, and there might be a very important clue in understanding something better. In that respect, I think we should allow somebody to complete their talk instead of interrupting them. Do not interrupt. Avoid interruption as much as you can. The third is pay attention to non-verbal cues. There is a verbal communication, and of course there is a non-verbal communication as well. And non-verbal communication is as much important like like the body language, like the facial expression, like the tone, etc. So it is important as well, if at all we do pay not only to the verbal communication but as well as to the non-verbal communication as well. So the fourth is, be aware of cultural differences. If at all two people from the different background, from the different cultures, if at all they are communicating with each other, maybe one person is trying to say one thing and the other person is not properly able to comprehend. So for that purpose, if at all we are interacting with someone else who does not belong to the same culture as our culture, so in that context, there's certain things, not each and everything, but some of the things we need to understand, keeping in view their own cultural differences. The fifth is, show encouragement and support. So instead of discouraging them and instead of stripping them of the support, it is very important to support them and to encourage them so that they could say whatever they actually mean, whatever they wanted to say. The sixth is, maintain eye contact. Maintaining eye contact is also very important. Maintaining eye contact, being able to understand the other person well, being able to communicate to the other person well. It is really important that we people are paying attention to we people are we succeed in establishing the eye contact. The seventh is, be mindful of tone. Be mindful of tone. The tone of the person is very important. Not only that their words are important, their tone is also important. Their tone is also important. And the eighth is, ask open-ended questions. Instead of asking for a question, which could be responded by saying yes or no, it is important, if at all, they do explain that thing in a detail so that we could covering every aspect so that we could understand their point of view in a better manner. Ask open-ended question. The ninth is, reflect and paraphrase. Reflection mean deep thinking, careful thought, and paraphrasing mean that we need to say the same thing in different words. So that is the technique number 9. Reflect and paraphrase. The 10th is, don't let your mind wander. Wherever you are, whatever is going on between the two or more between you and them, so it is important to pay attention to that. It is important to focus and to concentrate upon whatever is going on there instead of letting your mind wander here and there. And the 11th is, be concise and to the point. Be concise and to the point that is also important. Being concise, not being too lengthy, and being to the point, talking directly upon which you need to talk. So that was really a very useful article and a very beneficial one by the author, Adrian Volenik. And here he says 11 techniques for improved communication. I think that if at all we are able to communicate better, it actually means that definitely we are able to interact better with the other people, and it also means that we will be able to get far better results from the other person. And it is really important that we are able to interact and to communicate and to cooperate and to lend the cooperation and to seek the cooperation from the other people, and it is essential for our success. I think today's article was really beneficial and quite useful. 11 techniques for improved communication. Thank you.